Hi, so this is our final presentation for our IST 256 project. And so to introduce what our idea is and where we wanted to go with it, while we were brainstorming, we initially wanted to do something that was related to the current event of everything that's going on and what led to classes being virtual. So we were thinking, okay, how could we relate COVID-19 to something we could put into Python code? So one thing we thought of, and this is what our project came to be, is being able to plot out different restaurants and stores in a certain area. And what happened was, as we were building our idea, we had to shrink the scope of the idea. So it went from, okay, could we do the whole country? Could we do the whole state of New York? To could we do just Onondaga County, which is where we ended up focusing our project on. So it was based around inputs and being able to plot those inputs on a map. And right now we have up our Jupyter Hub file where at the bottom you can find our project poster, which is the overall visual aid in order to get a grip on the big picture idea of what our project is. Armin?
Oh, yes. Okay. So at first we were gonna create like a map, and we were gonna have points of the map for all the things that we were gonna have, such as the stores that were open during COVID-19. And so originally we were gonna work with the Google Maps API and integrate the Google Maps API into Jupyter Hub with Python and to create a nice looking map with all the points that we needed, but it would have costed money and we would have to create a free trial. So we opted to go for OpenStreetMaps instead and use their API. But after hours and hours of trying to figure that out and researching that, it seemed a little less user-friendly than we would have liked, and it was getting to the point where we couldn't get the map that we wanted using OpenStreetMaps. So we decided to switch back to Google Maps and signed up for the free trial, and worked with the Google Maps API and did a bunch more research on how to set up the Google Maps API and all that sort of thing, and then integrate that into our Jupyter Hub in order to use the Google Maps API, which was a lot more user-friendly and a lot cleaner and a lot easier to use for our final project.
And here's the final notebook file for our final project. So we ended up using a data visualization plotting package for Google Maps that used our Google Maps API key. So we didn't actually use the Google Maps API because it primarily deals with JavaScript. We used a Python package that someone else had made to work with Google Maps. And we use pandas to make tables and visualize data, and to actually collect our data from the New York State government repository. We use a package called SodaPy that just allows you to make API calls very easily. Of course, JSON to parse these API calls. To figure out the distance between the user and the nearest store, we use a package called GeoPy that allows us to do geocoding and figure out distance between latitude and longitude coordinates. The geocoder to encode or to code latitude and longitude from addresses, which is very beneficial. So first we wrote a couple of functions here. The first function just simply converts the latitude and longitude that was given from our initial pull of the food store data and converts it to just a simple coordinate group, because it had the latitude and longitude in a dictionary, which was not easily accessible, and we couldn't iterate over it. So this first function does that. Second function just simply finds the distance between 2 points using the GeoPy great circle distance function. This function, the user geocoder, just converts the user's input of an address or a town and turns it into latitude and longitude coordinates. The find min distance function, this just finds the minimum distance in between a point and the user, so it finds the closest store. And then down here we have our actual API calls. So the first one is to find the food store data. Second one is to find the COVID-19 testing data for the state of New York. Goes through a couple of data frames. We actually had to find all the individual centers for the counties in New York State in order to plot our data, and that was a pain in the butt. Sam had to do a lot of that. We had to merge a couple of data frames, called some functions down here. Then down here, we finally created our figure, and that is the end of that. So I'm actually going to run it here, and we'll show you how it works. So first, it asks for an address. So we can simply just say, we actually just say Syracuse, New York. It'll take towns as well. Then it will draw 2 points on the map, one of which is your location. If you click on the point, it'll say your location, and then the nearest food store to you, which is Melissa's Good News over here on East Washington Street. In addition, this map also has testing data for the entire state of New York. So, and it's in the heat map form. So you can see over by New York City, it's a dark red circle. You can see we went through the different boroughs and found all the data for that. But the testing data was so small in comparison to the New York City area that it barely shows up anywhere else except for a little bit around Rochester and around Buffalo. That is about it as far as the program goes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for